My name's Rhian Curtis and I'm the International Recruitment Manager here in the Faculty of Creative Industries at the University of South Wales. Welcome to our very first Google Hangout. You're very welcome, and wherever you are in the world, it's really nice to have people who are interested and passionate in studying creative subjects listening to us, and I really hope that we'll be able to help you today answer some questions that you might have about studying here, about what it's like to be a student, tell you a little bit about the courses, the faculty, but also provide some inspiration about how this can help you with your career after you've graduated. The Faculty of Creative Industries is one of the most popular faculties in our university. It's certainly a very dynamic faculty, and we have 3 schools within that. We have the School of Art and Design, the School of Drama and Music, and the School of Media. And it's from the School of Media that my colleague is joining us today, Ian Fitzel, who is the course leader for media production and an academic manager. So I'm going to hand over to Ian, who's going to tell you a little bit about some of the media courses. And as the conversation progresses, we'll share some more information with you about different courses, about skills, careers, and entry requirements. Ian?
Thanks. Hello everybody. As Rhian said, I'm Ian. I'm course leader for BA Media Production here at Atrium in Cardiff, University of South Wales. BA Media Production has evolved quite a lot over recent years. When it first came here in the building, it was very much a sort of a pick and choose type course where you choose your own path. I'm not sure what all of you know about Cardiff and what's happening in this local area, but it's become really a hotbed for media, and there's a lot of large-scale programs made here in Cardiff. I don't know whether you've heard of Doctor Who, as we have the Sherlock, many BBC productions, and as I said, it's really just turned into quite a hot spot here in the UK for graduates, media graduates, people interested in the media industry, and just generally the media industry in general. So what we've done with BA Media Production over the past sort of 2 years, we've evolved it and grown it, and we've changed the focus and turned media production into more of a broadcast media centric course. Obviously, there are some other media courses here in the building which we'll talk about, but I'll just take a few minutes to talk about media production, just as it is one of the key ones here in the building. So what we're trying to create with media production, we're trying to create graduates who are really conversant and really adept at working within the media industry. We see the media industry here in Wales and in the UK as being based around 3 main strands: vision, audio, and also new media. New media within the broadcast industry here in the UK is such a growing area. It's absolutely massive. So what we've tried to do is to embrace the traditional skills, but then also future-proof. Future-proofing is something that we're really keen to do, as well as also something else I'll touch on is working with local industry and industry in general. That's really important to us.
Can you just break down maybe the term future-proof? So for
Sure.
people maybe who are not used to UK words, what do you mean by that?
By future-proof, obviously, when you undertake a degree or you work within the industry, you want to have as long a lifespan and without having to do that much retraining. Right. So what we're trying to do is to create graduates, so when they graduate, they can enter into the industry at the cutting edge and be ready to take up active roles rather than having to go away and spend time developing. So we focus quite a lot upon how we can best prepare people. Perhaps the terminology future-proof is more sort of immediate proof rather than future-proof, because the industry is moving so quickly. Yeah. It's very difficult to keep everybody skilled, but that's what we're attempting to do.
And of course, the links, as you said, the links that we've got with companies, with industry, even some of the staff, still got their private professions as well. And obviously that's making sure as well that this course is just at the cutting edge, really, of developments, isn't it?
Well, what you mentioned earlier on, you mentioned I was an academic manager here in the building, and part of my other role is to increase more input from industry with all of our courses, whether that's live projects, so opportunities that come into us where we actually give to the student body, allow them to undertake something real. One of the things we say, it's very difficult to recreate a live environment in an academic environment. We try our best, but you can never beat it. So the more opportunity we have to make live environments or to put students within and have contact with the professionals. That's invaluable. Working with an industry professional, we'll do it. So that is interspersed across all of our courses, particularly in the media area, where we have more very large sort of how would you describe it? Auditorium theatre.
It's more than just a theatre, isn't it?
It's amazing. It's a lovely venue. So some of our students went there. There was a Handel's Messiah recital, and they went and they captured for the day. They streamed it online. Others have worked on the TED conference, just working with that, capturing it and putting it out there. We have some students who've worked on large scale projects as well, such as Doctor Who project that was based with a local primary school. In essence, to answer your question, we're really keen to work with a vast amount of people, and the more varied, the more diverse, and the more challenging these projects are, the better it is for us. This stretches me as a member of staff, and also it stretches the students as well.
And it's gaining valuable networks, and for the students as well. If they do well and they impress the client and impress people they're working with, obviously they're more likely to get a job or a recommendation at the end of it. I
mean, we talk an awful lot about hard skills when we look at courses, and we talk about the tangible skills, such as video editing, audio capture, audio manipulation. But one of the softer skills that we teach is the ability to network. How to identify opportunities, within the environment which you end up working in, or within the sector you work in. Be able to have the confidence just to go up to somebody, introduce yourself, make yourself, available to people. So some students come in, they do have the confidence and the ability to do that, but a lot of students, we try and help them and show them essentially, persistence in our industry is the key. And some students think, whether when you approach somebody, you speak to somebody, and they don't want to know, and that's it. And it's not.
Handling rejection.
it's part one of the test. So these are the sorts of things that when we the test is, it's being able to keep on and persisting and forcing home that you really want to do this. So we just help our students. We did it actually today. We've had an external speaker in today, it's a very large company in Cardiff called Sequence. It's a new media company, very proactive, very exciting young company. And he's come in here essentially today to look for talent.
Brilliant.
And that's how we operate. We bring people in, we expose the students to these people with a view to them networking, getting to know them, and hopefully working with them. That's really the plan.
And that's true across lots of other subjects as well, isn't it? I know even that in the graphics courses, the animation courses, the BA advertising,
journalism,
of course, they bring in the guest speakers, they bring in the companies, both public sector and private sector, where students can take part on live briefs, take part in live projects, or there are competitions where the best student in the class gets a chance to have an internship with that company, even down to preparing the students for interviews or helping them set up their own websites where they can then launch their portfolios and make them accessible to the public and to future employers. It's really important.
Every course that we have within my particular school, in School of Media, we all have a second year module that is termed professional practice. The whole purpose of that module is to prepare, even at that stage, prepare graduates for entering the industry. So it's some of the things, things you think are just taken for granted, like how to get your CV correct for this particular industry. It's just the simple things, how to put together show reels, how to best market yourself.
Definitely.
What we talk about. Sorry to keep going on with media production,
but
that's
your area
of
expertise.
What we talk about with the media production students is we turn them into a brand. You are a brand yourself. How best we can market the student as a brand, getting everything sorted out, everything from social media through to just a simple website. How best to put together a show reel, how best to target people for opportunities, because it's not often opportunities will come to you. You've
Well, no,
got to go.
you could be the most talented person in the world,
Exactly.
but if all you're doing is producing the work and it's just staying with you, then you're never gonna get that recognition or that job.
But that's really why we're doing this, is that we're proud of our students, we're proud of the work, and we're proud of all this and the amount of effort they put in and the quality of the work, and we just really want people to know about them. We also run, which I know you know, the end of year show, the final year show you've been for the last few years, which has been another good opportunity for us to showcase what our students can do.
You can have a look at that on our website if you're interested, and actually I'd really recommend that. On the University of South Wales website, there will be a link to Flourish 2014, and there you can actually click on different subject areas and see examples of student work from this year, which will give you an idea of the standard that they have reached in their final project, and maybe inspire you as well so you can pitch which level you are at, maybe give you some ideas for your own show reel and your own portfolio when it comes to applying.
You mentioned applying. When we talk about coming, it's quite some students arrive here just themselves, and they think, well, what do we bring? What do we bring to an interview? So say, for example, you want to come and interview media production. In essence, what we would be looking for is some form of a portfolio. And I understand, you know, in many environments, particularly, I mean, a lot of students or applicants coming from the UK, due to the way that the schools are structured, they don't have any physical things to bring because it's quite difficult. And we fully accept and we appreciate that that's the case. But what is always nice is when somebody comes here to demonstrate things they've done in their own time, to show a real love and a passion and an interest. To me, that's the most important thing. If somebody is passionate about a subject and they can demonstrate it, even if it's something as simple as having a YouTube channel or a Vimeo channel, but just evidence of a few things they may have shot, that's exactly the sort of thing that I like to see.
Brilliant.
And just a passion really is what we'd look for.
We've put together a handy portfolio guide for you, which goes through every single subject, and we have one at postgraduate and one at undergraduate. So if you're a bit confused as to what documentation you need for applying, or if you think, do I need a portfolio for this course, will I be interviewed for this course, then let us know, get in touch. We can send you a copy of the portfolio guide, and that will take you through every single course and what exactly the requirements are. Do the students need to be interviewed for media production, Ian?
Yes, it's important that we interview everybody, particularly from my perspective. It's a two-way street for us, the way we do it. One is to allow the applicant to have a one-to-one with me and find out exactly what the course is about. It's really, really important that when you make your course choices, you know exactly what you're letting yourself in for, what you want to do, make sure the course is right for you. But also it's something as simple, and it is as simple as this, is that you know me, you've met me, you've spoken to me, you know what I look like.
Oh, is that a good thing?
I don't know. Look at this. But what it does is when you arrive here, then we have, and I remember everybody who I speak to. One of the things I think which is really nice about the way that we operate here, I know all of my students' names. Everyone is really, really important to me that I know the names, I know a bit about them, I know who I'm dealing with and so on. It's really important. So that's the first part of the process. We're quite a tight-knit family. We're quite close here. We work as a team, the staff and the students. It's the best way to thrive and get work out, so that's what we try and foster here.
Lots of the courses, they also have Facebook groups set up for incoming students as well. So we have a student on our photojournalism course at the moment from Qatar, and he mentioned that when he arrived into his class, he felt like he already had a whole classroom of friends because they'd been speaking for months over Facebook, getting to know each other. So when he arrived, it wasn't so much of a shock. And he'd already had interaction with his course tutor, had been given a list of things to perhaps read in advance, or equipment, or lenses in his case, to bring with him. So he already felt part of that community. So it wasn't as scary as just appearing on your first day and not knowing anyone.
Exactly, it's really important and settling in. You know, we do take a lot of students locally, but there's also a lot of students that come from all areas. So this first week of settling in is really important. So having any tools, any mechanisms we can have to make that easier is essentially what we try to do. We use social media extensively across all of our recruitment. We encourage as well. One of the things I feel quite strongly about, I think the best people who sell your courses, or sell is the wrong word, but who help you to sort of give an insight into your course, is the student who's on there. So we encourage everybody to join on to our Twitter feeds, our Facebook feed, and see what our students are talking about, even perhaps interact, as if they were part of the course already. Can I just quickly, you flash this in front of the screen, so I'm going to do it as well. It's something else I wanted to quickly chat about. The photograph you're seeing on there is one of my classes. Okay. I'm hidden away somewhere there, behind the pot plant on the corner, I think I am. This is one of the good things about our faculty, and I think it's one of the big positives, is that we got such a diverse range of people within this building, and there's quite a lot of interaction that goes across courses. Oh,
I'm really glad you brought that up, because I was going to mention that later as well, about that collaboration.
If I just mention just quickly, just to show an example, for example, that's a media production person. The people sat on the chair are BA journalism. So that's how we operate. It's really nice culture that we have here when we're working together. It's actually getting the most professional look to what we do. And that's really important to us. It's not a case of doing things for the sake of doing it. It's actually doing things and striving for the best output.
As well, I think by bringing people together from different areas, it's obviously preparing them better for work and for their careers, because nobody is ever going to be in a job where they only meet people like them. Especially working in a creative industry, you're going to meet people from all kinds of backgrounds, from different professions. So by doing a big project where you might have an animator who collaborates with a musician who's going to make the music for his animated film, or you might have the drama students working with the film students. And by having that collaboration, I think people learn how to work together better. They learn how to work outside their comfort zone, which is what they need, really, because when you go to work, if you were a drama student, you're not only ever going to meet other actors, so it's important that you know what the different roles and responsibilities are within your career.
I mean, I mentioned earlier on about the hard skills and the soft skills. Organizational skills are another thing that spans the whole of our courses. What you're talking about there, of working with people from other areas, being able to organize, particularly for shoots outside, is quite complex, and it's essentially what happens again in the real world. It's something that we focus upon heavily and encourage our students to do. But we have a sort of an organic approach in the building as well, where we don't even have to force students. It just happens. If you ever get a chance to visit our building here in Cardiff, or any of the other campuses that we're working from, you'll notice there's notice boards. And on the notice boards, the requests for certain skills and certain talents, and there's sort of like a subculture of things going on below our radar, just purely for the creativity, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that feeds into the employability then of the student as well, because we know when they go for a job and they go for an interview, they can talk about subject areas outside of their own. And I think it shows that they're more of a team player. And our employability statistics do back that up, actually. We have 94.8%, quite a precise number, of students going into employment or further study within 6 months, which is fantastic. And I think the reason for that high number is that we do provide the students not only with the hard skills, but these softer skills, with the opportunities to network, with the interaction with industry, the chance to work on live projects, and that professional approach. And then that reveals itself then by the number of people who gain not just a job, but very good jobs after they graduated.
Yeah, just talking again about my particular course, as well as refocusing it to the media industry, we took a conscious decision that employability and the ability to get work and understand how the industry works was just as important as the everyday skills. So it's embedded throughout the whole course, encouraging students to essentially curate themselves, if that makes sense. So when you have work that you're producing, structure it, present your brand, present your image, but understand how the industry expects it to be presented. That's really important to us as well. So as I said, we spend an awful lot of time, sort of like providing professional support as well as the things you would expect to see from
as well as
course.
academic side of things.
It's quite. Some students are quite surprised, that because my attitude always is towards this sort of thing. If you're gonna sort of do a degree, you need to make sure that what you're getting is going to allow you to have the best opportunities when you graduate.
Definitely.
So it's
and especially given that we're talking to an international audience here, if people are coming from what could be the other side of the world, it's a huge investment and it's a huge commitment to leave your home, leave your comfort zone again, and to come to Wales, come to Cardiff, and to have a new cultural experience as well as a new academic experience. So the fact that it is a close-knit community and the fact that they are then going to get so much out of it at the end of it, I think is justifying the upheaval, the change, that big change in their life, and justifying the costs as well. Just to come on to the issue of tuition fees, which is a question we get asked very often. We do have some scholarships available to assist international students. But for people who would like to come and study with us in 2015, so next September, at undergraduate level, it's £11,600. At postgraduate level for a taught masters, that would be £12,300. Like I say, there are some partial scholarships available as well to help with that. But obviously we recognise, again, that is still a big investment for people.
Yes.
And that's why we obviously want to make sure that you as a student and your family who are supporting you or your employers are going to get as much out of that in return as possible and make it really good value for that investment.
It's something that we are incredibly conscious of, is to make sure that, without being too direct, suggesting value for money, because it is an education process, but we are conscious to make sure that what we provide is not only appropriate, but is at the highest standards and gives you the best opportunities when you leave. One thing I would say is that we have had a number of overseas students who've been here on the courses, and I got to be truthful, I'm not saying this today because I'm talking to you, but I love the experience of working with people from different cultures, different areas of the world. They bring a complete different approach, complete different reflection on what we're doing in many cases. And also, there's nothing better as well, is because I'm a bit of a weeper. So at graduation time, I think there's nothing better when you get to meet students and the families, and you get to see the people behind the students. Does that make sense? When you
totally.
So
I'm exactly the same. I travel so often. I've probably been to most of the countries, the people who are currently watching this broadcast now, and you meet so many people, and then when they arrive in September and you see them on campus, it's so lovely to see that you've helped to nurture somebody through that process, and that they're here on campus and they're ready to start their new journey. It's a lovely experience for us, as exciting as it might be for you. We're just as excited to have you here.
Yeah, but what as I tell every student that comes here, and again, I don't really understand the phraseology cheesy, but it's sort of like I say to students, you're with us for 3 years. That 3 years goes so quickly, and before you know it, you're at graduation. And when you get to build this bond with these students, and you understand them, a bit about the family, it is quite a friendly environment here in which you work. And to see the families behind the person who you work with, being so happy and thrilled to see them graduate, and the excitement yourself of knowing that this person has just walked across the stage is going on to have a fantastic career. Some even starting jobs before they graduate, which often happens, is such a nice thing for us to see. As I said, I'm like an old dad, like an old father who's sort of letting us
proud.
Yes, proud seeing them off into the wilderness. So yes.
We're just going to keep talking about skills and about employability for the rest, and different courses for the rest of the session. But if you have any particular questions, you do have the option on the Google Hangout to type a specific question if we're not addressing that, and then we'll be able to see that appear on the screen, and we can help you by addressing your question live. So don't be shy, please enter any questions if you have anything in particular that you'd like to know. In the meantime, I was going to ask you, you've mentioned a few times about what students do after graduation. What kinds of jobs have people from within the media area gone on to do after graduation?
We probably the best example I give is what happened last year. We had 2 students who were really talented students, you know, and they're obviously highly motivated. They went to work on a local production for CBeebies channel, which is children's BBC here in the UK. The program is called Rasta Mouse, which always brings up quite a smile.
My goddaughter watches Rasta Mouse all the time.
My son and my daughter watch Rasta Mouse. It's when I tell them that they're on there, they're looking for them, but obviously you can't see them because it's animated. But one of them has had a job there as a compositor, and then one as a floor manager, and they were picked before graduation, and that is really what we're trying to do. The more often that can happen for us, the better it is. Genuinely, the better it is. But I mean, they're just some examples. There are quite a few students who've literally just walked out and walked into quality jobs in quality places. I mentioned earlier that we had Sequence in today. Sequence is, as I said, is one of the most forward-thinking companies. They've taken 2 of our graduates and given them employment before, before they've even left the building, and that's just fantastic. And it's not only sort of testament to what we do, but also the students as well. There's also the students important. As I said, there are quite a lot of we've taken in a lot of students from overseas, and there are a lot of support mechanisms, aren't there? Which,
definitely.
Which we can
and I'm really glad that you mentioned the support mechanism as well, because if people are coming from so many different countries, maybe there's a bit of homesickness when they first arrive, or a little bit of confusion. But practical questions as well, like how do you open a bank account in the UK? How do you register with a doctor? If you have any spiritual needs that you want addressing, if you have any concerns, or perhaps dyslexia or some learning difficulties, we have a team of people on the campus who are here to help with that, as well as your tutors, but we do have trained people who are here to help you. And I think that just goes back to what you said about everyone being really friendly and supportive.
And we also have the Students' Union as well. I have a lot of societies and cultural societies that allow people from all sorts of different walks of life and interests to find people with common interests as well, which is also really important to us, going forward. And as a city, I mean, I'm bound to be biased because I am Welsh. I'm from the city. But one of the things I think is really important, and something I wanted to convey today, is just what a good, safe city Cardiff is to live in. It's a fabulous city. I don't know whether any of you have been to London. I like to think of Cardiff as a miniature London over 1 square mile. It's sort of very sort of compact. It's very nice, very friendly. There's a balance between the old part of the city with the cultural areas, and then the new parts of the city like Cardiff Bay, which is absolutely fantastic to go and visit and see. And also as well, Wales is very vociferous when supporting the rugby team. Rugby is the national sport of Wales. So if you've never been to Wales before and you decide to come and have a look around, you'll notice that there's rugby fields and rugby posts everywhere. So all I'll ask you, please, if you are considering coming to see us, buy yourself a rugby ball before you come here, because you're probably going to need it going forward.
It's like you said, there's something for everybody, though. It doesn't really matter. If you're not into sport, the arts scene is amazing. The number of theatres and performance venues for musicians, for budding actresses, that is fantastic to see live performances and all of the big international acts which come to the UK. Because Cardiff is the capital of Wales, it's the capital city, you're likely to see the biggest acts here as well. And with my shopping habit, the fact that there's 3 different shopping malls here is something that quite appeals to me. So yeah, plenty to do regardless of what you're interested in. And like Ian said, you know, there's the historic side, there's the cultural side. So we have the castle and we have all of the Welsh traditions that go with that as well, which I think a lot of people really enjoy when they come, the learning of a new culture. I'm just going to interrupt this conversation for a minute because we have had a question. So we've had a question from Nadine, who is asking about the game art course, asking about the examination and the assessments on the game art. So that's the BA Honours Game Art, and what would you need to have in your portfolio? So that's a really good question. So I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes addressing that. So Nadine, in case you just joined us, we were talking earlier on about this is our undergraduate portfolio guide, and there we go through all of the requirements that you would need in a portfolio. So game art, because it is so it's so based in art and design skills, you would need a portfolio to show your abilities and to show your basic art talents and your skills. Excuse me. With the content, we are not too prescriptive, so we won't say you need to show us certain images, but what we would ask is that it includes any projects you've been working on, perhaps in school or college, or if you're not currently studying an arty type course in school, but you do it in your spare time as a hobby, just give us some examples of that so that the tutor can assess your skill level and to see if that's appropriate for the course. So you might like to include evidence of observational drawings, evidence of design and your thought process. So if you've designed a character or you've designed a scenario, how did you get there? So staging, showing the different stages along the way, technical drawings, and if you're going to be doing more computer game programming or kind of visualizing how a game will progress, you know, if there are any 3D work that you have as well, that would be really helpful. There will be an interview afterwards, so keep your portfolio close by, and the tutor would contact you probably over Skype if it's not possible to visit the campus, and they'll just talk through your portfolio, so ask you questions about what was your inspiration, perhaps asking you about different artists who you admire in that field. Are there any games in particular that you enjoy and why is that? And just to find out more about your hobbies and, like Ian said, to discover your passion behind that subject. And likewise, it's a two-way process, so if you have any questions or you have any concerns, then please use that opportunity to share that with us. With the portfolio, because you're containing so many examples of artwork, it's likely to be very big. So if you could upload that onto a file sharing website or something like Dropbox, and then send that to us via a web link. Send us any passwords if it's password protected, and then we can take a look at it online. And that would be much easier than trying to either send anything to the post or trying to embed big files elsewhere. So
things to get lost as well is really important.
Definitely, not when you spent so much time putting the effort in. So I hope that's helped.
Well, I think I'd like to mention a little bit about how we teach and the approaches that we have to teaching here within the faculty. Most courses operate on workshop basis. So you could potentially be on a course that perhaps, I keep using media production as an example because that's what I know. We have, in the first year of BA Media Production, we have 75 students in the first year, which obviously, you can't do any workshops of that amount of students. So when it comes to formal lectures, which there are formal lectures on the course, then you would be in groupings of 75 students. But then it's really, really important to break these groupings down into smaller groupings for the workshops, because they need more one-to-one tuition for the tutor to spend more time looking at their individual works. So we tend to operate in groups of no larger than 20 to 25, depending upon the course within the workshop environment. That allows us then obviously to get around everybody and to work and to spend the time, because sometimes you do need some time with an individual student. We also teach quite proactively, which I'm sure you would expect us to do here, where a lot of how we teach is taught where the lecturer would do a demonstration and the students would follow what the lecturer does. So it'll be shown to the whole class as a demonstration piece, and then the students then would follow these, particularly in the areas, with the more sort of the computer generated areas, After Effects, that sort of area. Awful lot of demonstration type work. There are some courses that have examinations. My old friend media production doesn't. The reason that we don't do examinations in media production is we're desperate to sort of allow people to express themselves practically and develop portfolio elements. That doesn't mean that they're just being cast aside. I think personally it's much harder to do a course that is 100% coursework based than there is to do a course that has examinations. That's just my opinion. It does take up quite a lot of time, because the assessments we ask students to do are not trivial. They're quite intense, they're quite involved, they take up quite a lot of student time. So I think personally I would rather have examinations on the course, but going forward it is much better, because we tried to set the course up in such a manner that everything that you do for an assessment could potentially be used as a piece for your portfolio. And that's really important, that you are to express yourself, create things and make things that could be used or to help further your employability.
And I was looking just this afternoon on the Flourish website. So for people who've only just joined us, we have a website called Flourish 2014, which demonstrates the work of our students who have just graduated. So giving them examples of work. They have all now set up their own website. So if you click into, for example, animation or games, you click onto a student, you can see part of their work, but then it will also take you off to their own website. Mm-hmm. So they have taken what they produced in the university and taken that forward to set up a professional website where they're promoting themselves to prospective employers.
And I hope you do go and check out the site, because you'd be, I would say surprised, that sounds quite rude, but you will be very impressed with what you'll see. It is industry standard work. Yeah. It's fantastic, some of the works that are on there.
What I think is also testimony is the types of jobs that students are getting after graduation. So you mentioned the students who are working on the children's BBC programmes, but for me, it's with some of the games and some of the animation students as well, what they've gone on to achieve, working for people like Aardman, DreamWorks, Disney, Pixar, really big players, people from the games courses working with Sony, with Nintendo, with Microsoft, really well-known brands, or on the other side, starting up their own company from scratch. So not that you have to go and work for a large international company, because actually setting up your own company from scratch is just as tough. Harder probably.
Yeah, I was just going to say, one of the key routes for quite a few of our graduates is rather to actually go and work for somebody, to actually go and work for themselves and set themselves up as a freelancer.
Yeah.
There's quite a vibrant freelance market out there, particularly in our local area here in Cardiff, also the UK and further afield. There's a vibrant market. If you have the skills and you have the toolkit to get on and be part of that network, it's obviously very positive. One just quick aside to that as well. One of the approaches we take to our teaching and delivery is we tend to use freelancers quite a lot within our delivery. It's something really important. I've been here forever, my skills are not as sharp and up to date as somebody who's actually doing it now. That's why I'm an academic manager, and they take me away from all these things. But what we do is we bring in practitioners, lecture practitioners, who essentially spend perhaps 2 or 3 days doing the job, and 2 days teaching you how to do the job. They bring into the classroom materials and works that they're currently working on, So you're learning the latest production flows, the latest techniques. It's so brilliant. And as a university, and as a school, that's something we're really pushing, is to bring more people in from industry to teach students who are actually doing it for real. It's so important, and that's something I think is only going to get stronger as we go further and further down the development and evolution of our courses here.
And a lot of the courses are also accredited, aren't they? So that provides that extra guarantee really to students that you are receiving the most cutting edge information and the most relevant information and training to prepare you to go into the workforce afterwards. Accreditation would be where a group of a body of professionals, of the relevant industry professionals, would come together, evaluate our curriculums, evaluate the facilities,
forensically,
and almost give us a tick of approval. You might see in some of our brochures, some of our marketing materials, there are some tick symbols or companies' names, and that's where people have come in and said, you know, the skills that you're teaching the student, the content of the course is preparing the student well enough that they would be ready to come immediately into a job and wouldn't require any further training. Yeah. I know that you've worked quite closely with some of the accrediting bodies.
For the journalism course, for example, I'm sure it's the BJCT with the journalism course. I know that they went through an incredibly rigorous process of literally checking every single thing that we were doing to make sure it was industry standard, everything from our paperwork to actually what we're doing in the classroom. And that's what you'd expect. You know, people don't give an endorsement of quality unless there is quality there. The agenda to have more courses accredited is something I know within my school, something we are pushing. It gives us that extra sort of like vote of confidence in what we're doing to make our courses more valuable and effective within the industry.
And there are a number of other accredited courses in the School of Art and Design, in animation, music, for example. So that's worth keeping an eye out for, and also realising that when you see that accreditation, that's a seal of approval. And industry obviously likes it because it means that they don't need to spend time training you in a job. They know that you are ready to just start in a professional manner right away. So we're very proud of our links with the accrediting body.
But just one thing to add to it is that in order to get accredited with some organisations, it takes time.
Yes.
So some of the courses that we're offering here haven't actually got the formal accreditation in place, but that doesn't mean that we're not working towards it. It's something that I won't go into too much detail, but if you make some changes to a course, then you can't go for accreditation for perhaps 2 years.
Okay.
So you have to wait just basically to prove that the course is operating effectively. So some of the courses that you may see haven't got them, but that isn't a negative. It's there's a lot going on, behind it. Just it's worth mentioning that.
No, thank you. And a lot of the courses are also new, because what we found is that every year we get inquiries from other students asking, do you run this course? Do you run this course? So we're always updating our portfolio of courses. And for 2015, we actually have many new courses, particularly in the School of Media, and just developing from the undergraduate courses. So it's worth, if you're looking at an undergraduate course, it's worth looking to see if we have a relevant master's in that area, so that you can progress through. So that's something we've really been developing over the last few years, as well as putting on these new courses. We just have another question in, so I'm going to go and answer that. So we have another question, which is from an inquirer who doesn't have a background in the creative industry, but is interested in applying for film studies. And would it be possible to come into film studies without a background in the creative industries? I guess to answer that question, we would need to first of all break down the understanding of film studies. We have two courses. We have the BA Film Studies and the BA Film. The BA Film Studies is a slightly more academic route, theoretical route, doing more critical analysis of film.
Genre.
Yes, perhaps more essay writing, perhaps more analysis, maybe becoming a cinema critic or working in academia, things like that, isn't it? Whereas the BA film course is much more hands-on, perhaps working in a room like you can see behind us with some of this equipment, and very much responsible for getting to know how to use equipment, making your own films, yes. Project managing your own films. So you have those two different routes. Now, if you're interested in studying film studies, which is a slightly more theoretical route, you don't necessarily need to provide evidence of having used equipment or having made a film. But as Ian mentioned with his courses, it's about that passion, isn't it?
Yes, and when you apply as well, there's an opportunity for you to tell us a little bit about yourself on the application form. Yeah. Courses such as film studies rely upon personal statements to give an insight into the type of person you are and essentially where your interests lie. But all of our, I'm sure I'm right in saying, all of our courses interview. So it's at this point really. I mean, I know I use this when I'm interviewing. It's at that point really where I can talk to you on a one-to-one and find out exactly, what you want from the course and whether or not the course would be suitable for you. So I would suggest, applying would be a good thing, and then letting the tutor speak to the tutor and ascertain more information.
Yeah, and in your personal statement, like Ian said, showing where did your interest in film come from? Yes, yeah. What have you done since then to develop it? If you've always enjoyed going to the cinema or looking at films, have you done any extra research, or have you ever had any work experience?
What's your favourite genre? Who are your favourite directors? What type of things do you enjoy watching and seeing? Who inspires you? Who do you find? And it's from that we can actually judge a little bit more about you.
Whereas with the BA film course, which is the more practical hands-on course, that is where we would need to see a physical example of what you'd produced. So any examples that you had where you had produced a film or made a film either by yourself or maybe as part of a team or a group in school perhaps, you could submit that to us, upload it to a website, and then send us the link so that we can see that. And then in the interview then you would tell us a bit more about your thought process behind that. Again, what inspired you? How did you get to the end result? If you could have changed something, what would you have done differently? Yeah. What did you learn from it? If you made this film as part of a group, what was your individual role? But also, how did you feel working with everybody else? So that's the difference between the two courses. One slightly more theoretical and one slightly more practical. Would you say that's about it?
There's theory in both, but essentially film studies is really about understanding and the theory behind the film.
The genre.
Yes, and everything that goes on within it. They are very different. Even though they look quite similar in title, they are very, very different in makeup.
If you're still a bit confused, or if you have any more questions, or you would like to have a bit more understanding about the distinction between the courses, then we can keep in touch after this, and we can certainly email through more information to you. So I hope that's helped. Okay, I wanted to also give a bit more context because I realised that we jumped into talking about a lot of some of the particulars about the courses, and we hadn't really given as much of an overview of the other maybe nationalities or the other international students who we currently have on our campus. So you mentioned some of the students you've had on your course. What countries did they tend to come from?
Well, just this morning I met with Lalo, Eduardo. He's from Mexico. He's currently studying the course media technology here with us. Since he arrived here, he's been really, really proactive in looking for work experience opportunities. He's really grasped it and gone with it. He's part of there's quite a contingent of Mexican students we have here at the moment. Yeah. So I wouldn't say they're always together, but they're often found together, going around and socializing, and it's really forming part of the community. And one of the good things that Lalo has done for us is he's given us, again, as I mentioned earlier, there's a different inflection on things. There's a different way of looking at things. We learned a lot from him. as well. I hope perhaps I should really be speaking as openly about a current student, but something as simple as how we communicate with him is a lesson that we learned. In the expectation of a student from certain areas is different to what you get from a student or maybe from the UK. So we've managed purely by having experience of working with students from different countries, we are being able to learn and adapt our communication styles and make them more appropriate. One of the things we also learned is that students tend to be quite shocked by the ability to contact us. It's only purely anecdote from a few students we've spoken to, where they're quite shocked that they can just email the lecturer and the lecturer will email them back or call them, and they're sort of like, well, where we've come from, that doesn't happen. I know it's not the same everywhere, but from some of the students from overseas we work with, they're quite shocked and surprised.
And I guess as well about that interaction, the fact that if a lecturer says something you don't agree with, or that you you can just question, and it's more of a continuous not debate, but it's more of an equal relationship, I guess, then, rather than the lecturer always taking the lead.
We had a student who found that quite difficult. Is that is that he was disagreeing with some of the things we were saying, but didn't actually realise he could say, well, I disagree with that.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's absolutely fine. It's as a matter of fact, it's really important. It's really, really important. Particularly when I'm teaching, it's important to have a good understanding of what the students feel about things and think about things. I say sometimes it's hard to do, because sometimes you see some lecturers who are quite, I mean, when I teach them, quite loud and boisterous and go crazy. So and sometimes they're quite intimidating to come and see me. But we try our best to encourage all students to come at any time to come and see us and speak to us.
And the lecturers are really used now to meeting students from all over the world. We currently have 75 students from outside of the EU on campus. As Ian said, we have a large contingent from South America, from Greater Europe, from the US, from Asia, Southeast Asia, and many of us actually travel to these regions. So you might even see us in an office near you at some point in the year. So I hope we'll have a chance to meet face to face when we're traveling, and then we can answer some of your questions then in person. And speaking of questions, I think we only have 5 minutes left. So if anybody has any final questions they'd like us to answer, then please email them now, and we'll have time then to answer those before the end of the session.
Could I just add one quick thing before we're waiting? All of our contact details are online.
Yes.
And I'm more than happy at any time to take any questions that any students want to ask. Just feel free, just track us down on the website and feel free to drop us a line. It's genuinely not a problem at all. The more we can help, the better.
Definitely. We know that it's a big leap, but as I said, here in the faculty, we do have a large number of international students. We're very used to answering queries and questions, particularly about the courses, about the portfolios and the entry criteria, about the fees, about the scholarships. So please don't be shy in emailing us. English language requirements are also a common question.
Yes.
And generally, it would be at undergraduate level, it would be an IELTS or equivalent score of 6.0, and at masters that would be 6.5. The only exception being for journalism, isn't it? Which is IELTS 7, obviously because of the extra mode of communication. But like I said, if we've got any questions, we are going to put our contact details online after this session, so that you can then email us directly. Have you got any final thoughts to close up the session?
What I'd just like to say was it was nice having the opportunity to come and do this today. It's my first time speaking in such a way, and all I would say is hopefully in the very near future I get hopefully to meet some of you, and you can see that what I've said today is true.
I think I'd like to conclude really by just reinforcing what we've been talking about, is that not only are we giving a high standard of teaching and that the academic content of your course is going to provide you with essential skills, but that the other elements of being here in the faculty, the facilities that we mentioned, the work experience opportunities or opportunities to network with industry and clients, the creative Atmosphere in Cardiff, Pinewood Studios is about to come as well, which is all going to contribute to your successful career and your future in the creative industry. It's not just about, the course is obviously really important. It's not just about the course, it's about the facilities, it's about where you study, it's about the teaching staff and the support that you get. So definitely. So I believe, well, we believe obviously that we've got a good package here, but I guess it's up to you to decide, but we're certainly here to help you at every stage of the journey. So you're very welcome.